Well, it's Minnesota's turn on the breakdown of Michigan's opponents. What a beautiful Memorial Day weekend it has been. I hope you guys have been able to enjoy it yourselves. It is Monday, and we're going to be talking Minnesota. Welcome to the series of Michigan opponents for 2023. This series is intended to make fans aware of our opponents on the quest for Michigan's national championship. Michigan's owns offensive and defensive line, so who could make an impact for Minnesota? We're going to find out here soon. Ohio State and Penn State are not the only two teams on Michigan's schedule. I feel like people are overlooking everybody else. Not everybody. I am. I have, and for good reason. But it is now time to break down some of these other teams. I previously did Nebraska, Rutgers, and the non-conference. So here we go with Minnesota. Before we get started, there was a commenter that wanted more precise transfer updates, and I will try. It's so fluid. They're moving back and forth like crazy. Like Minnesota here, I have two transfers in that are not enrolled into the university yet. So, but I will do my best to keep track of all that. Minnesota will play Michigan at their house on October 7th. It is Michigan's second consecutive road game during that stretch. Minnesota, all time, has a record of 727 wins, 536 losses, and 44 ties. They have 18 conference championships and claim 7 national championships. The series record with Michigan is 76, 25, and 3 in Michigan's favor, and Michigan has won the last 3. They've only played 3 times since 2015. Head coach for Minnesota is P.J. Fleck. He is entering his 7th season for the Golden Gophers. He is 44-27 at Minnesota. He was 11-2 in 2019 and won the West Division. And the past 2 seasons, he's been 9-4 with the COVID year in between, which was not so good for most Big Ten teams. He got Western Michigan to a Cotton Bowl 13-0, believe it or not, before they lost that game. So he's a good coach, trying to build this program back to where it should be. Quarterback, sophomore Ethan Kalekmanis is 60 for 111 passes, 54%, 946 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions, all while taking over. Well, Tanner Morgan was hurt off and on. He's played in lieu of Tanner Morgan, but Tanner Morgan is gone now. So this is Ethan's team. We'll see what he can do. At running back, senior Sean Tyler is a transfer from Western Michigan. There's a few transfers here from P.J. Fleck's old stomping grounds. Sean Tyler had 209 rushes for 1,027 yards, which is a 4.9 average. He also had 7 touchdowns. He had 12 receptions for 111 yards and a touchdown as well. And they have a pretty good backup here. Senior Bryce Williams, 51 carries for 249 yards, 4.9 average, 3 touchdowns. And he also had 11 receptions for 91 yards. At wide receiver, they've got a few of them here. Couple transfers. Junior Elijah Spencer, a transfer from Charlotte, had 57 catches for 943 yards, 16.5 yards per catch, and 9 touchdowns. And then senior Corey Crooms from Western Michigan. Last year at Western Michigan, he had 57 catches as well, 814 yards, 14.3 average, and 5 touchdowns. Senior Daniel Jackson, I believe he's still around, 37 receptions, 557 yards, 15 average, and 5 touchdowns. And another senior, Chris Ottman-Bell, I believe he's still around. I think he was dealing with some injuries. 11 catches for 214 yards, 19.5 average, and 1 touchdown. And then sophomore Lameek Brockington also had 11 catches for 203 yards, 18.5 yards per average, and 1 touchdown. At tight end, there's one that stood out, and he's a pretty good standout. Senior Brevin Spanford. He has 42 catches, had 42 catches last season, 497 yards, 11.8 average, 2 touchdowns. All right, some key defensive players that we should look out for. And defensive line is junior Danny Strigow. Had 20 tackles and 3.5 sacks and 1 interception last season on the defensive lines. And then senior Kyler Baugh, 36 tackles and 1 sack. At linebacker, junior Cody Lindenberg had 71 tackles and 1 sack. And then senior Ryan Selig, another transfer from Western Michigan, had 73 tackles and 1.5 sacks. Now, defensive back is going to be really, really good for Minnesota if these two guys enroll. And we'll save them for the end. But Jack Henderson, a junior, is a transfer from Southeast Louisiana. He had 82 tackles, 2 sacks, and 2 interceptions there last season. A senior, Tyler Newbin, 55 tackles, 4 interceptions. I've seen people project him maybe a first-round draft pick this next season. Junior, Justin Wally, 39 tackles and 3 interceptions. And then here are the transfers that have not been enrolled. Junior Craig McDonald, transfer from Auburn, 41 tackles and 2 interceptions. And senior Tyler Bride, also with 41 tackles, 2 interceptions. He is transferring from Georgia Southern. So you have a little bit of the roster there for you, some people to keep an eye on. The schedule sets up as follows for Minnesota. They have Nebraska at home. And if you already watched the Nebraska video, you know where I lean on that. I think Minnesota wins this game. Eastern Michigan is up next, and then at North Carolina. I think similar teams here, except North Carolina has the edge at quarterback, but I like the secondary that Minnesota has. We'll see. That'll be a fun matchup there. At Northwestern right after that, and then Louisiana they have at home. Michigan is at home. At Iowa, Michigan State, Illinois, at Purdue, at Ohio State, and Wisconsin. I think they can make that 9-4 yet again. 8-4 is what I'm leaning in the regular season. Losses to North Carolina, Michigan, at Iowa, and at Ohio State is what I have right now. And they could win a bowl game to get them to that 9-4 mark. So there you go. Tell me what you guys think of Minnesota and how much should we worry about this game. They're going to want that little brown jug back. I did a rivalry video on that, and we talked about that in that video, but they're going to want that back, okay? Rest be assured they want that. So we have to be ready for everybody on this schedule. Anyone can slip up, even the best teams. So this is one spot where Michigan could do that. Thank you, everybody, and have a great day out there.